Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm here to work on my disaster of a craft room. Although I have to say, this is session number 9 and it's starting to look really good. I'm almost at the point, and actually, in this video, I do start to do a little bit of organization, and I think that's the next step that we're going to do. We're going to, once I finish cleaning what we'll call the hot zones, like my desk right now, and the last hot zone, I believe, is my sink. And that's what we're going to do next week, and actually under that desk. So maybe we'll do the sink and under that desk in the next video, and then I'll have that all done, and then we'll start organizing. And I plan on starting with my Rascogs, organizing those, and then going drawer by drawer and really organizing and really sitting down and figuring out, like, how do I want to store my stuff, and then I can right away start organizing the way I want it to. So I don't know if you can tell by my voice, and it doesn't help that I had almost half this video voiced over, and then I looked down and I'm like, that doesn't look like it recorded anything. And it was just like a and I'm like, oh no, I barely had enough voice to do one time. But I've been feeling a bit under the weather. So this week I couldn't do a lot of videos because for my patrons, what I do is I do real-time videos. So I talk while I put the pages together. Well, I couldn't do a lot of that. So I was like, well, let me do something else. Maybe by this weekend, I'll feel even worse than I'm feeling now, and I won't feel like doing an hour and a half of cleaning my craft room. And I was absolutely right. I felt like poop this morning. So I ended up doing maybe 30 minutes this morning, and then I did some organizing because then I could sit down, because I keep getting these flashes like I'm just like boiling. I don't know if I have a fever or whatever, but I just get like, oh, I got to sit down. So I was able to do some organizing. But on this day, I thought, I can take half an hour. I can take one of those piles off that desk, go through them, and divide them by one pile is, it's got journal on, it's got the date on, it's all done. And that's on, I guess on your screen, it would be on the right side. It's actually on my left for me, you know what I mean? Like the way I'm standing in the video. And then the pile in the middle has no journaling. And then I made a third pile which had no photos and no journaling. Now I have to tell you, those two piles in the middle that you can see, at the end, they're pretty much equal, which is awesome. That means that I have quite a few layouts that are already journaled on, or just need like a quick date, like it's something that's going to be super quick and I can put in an album. And the reason I wanted to separate those is that when I get to that pile, I can say, well, today I'm going to take 5 of the easy ones, and then I'll take 10 from that other pile. Now, that day here, I just did that one pile, and then, I had to rest because I wasn't feeling that great. But before I do that, I end up journaling on the last 3 pages that I started at the beginning of the week, and I didn't finish because I said I want to journal on 10 pages a week and put at least 10 pages away in albums a week, because I started this project before and I think the goal was too big. Like it just felt too much, because journaling on 25 layouts takes quite a bit of time, and then actually putting those away in albums also takes a bit of time. But 10, I can do 10 no problem. And if I consistently do 10 a week, that's going to be almost 500 layouts that is going to be journaled on by the end of, not this year, but not calendar year. But what I'm doing is I'm keeping tally, and I'm going to write down from week 1 to week 52 and then we'll see how many layouts I actually put away and journal. Now, another thing, I love going through the layouts like that. I don't know if you saw, but there's quite a few times I stop and I look at the layout and I look at the pictures, and I just love the stories. And I'm excited. I really am excited that by the end of this year, not calendar year, but 52 weeks, that I am going to have that many layouts into albums. Now, what I'm going to start doing is maybe once a month is I'm going to buy page protectors. I think I have about 300 page protectors, so I think I'm okay for a bit. And I think I have about 8 albums empty. So, but I don't want to wait till the very end and then all of a sudden I don't have any albums to put them away or page protectors, because really that's the expensive part, right? Is to get the stuff for that. And it's like, you pay $45 on scrapbooking supplies and it's like, okay, I got something to work with. Yeah, pay $45 between the page protectors and the album. It's like, okay, I have an album to put all the pages in, but we need them if we don't want all that work to be wasted. So again, I'm putting pieces of chipboard on the front or on the bottom and the top of each stack. And then that way it's going to help keep them straight into those slots where I put them. Now, another day, I didn't film it because it was, more of the same here, but I went and I got those 2 remaining stacks and I just divided them into, what it would fit in that slot, and I put chipboard and I put them away. Now there is only 1 stack that I have left that I was like, I wish I could put them in slots like this, but I walked around my room and I'm like, what could I condense together? What could I move in order to put all those layouts, in something like this? And if you remember, it was one of the first ones, the first clean with me that I did. It was it's almost like a countertop up against the back of my room, and I put a stack of layouts there. But then today I needed to, choose 10 more layouts so that next week I can journal on. And I'm not talking like the week, like July 1st. Next week, I've already journaled on all my layouts for this week. Now, if this week I'm like, hey, I feel like crap, I don't feel like doing anything else, I can't do a voiceover, I might go upstairs and journal on a few layouts and maybe get ahead of next week. Because next week Mason has a hockey school all week, so it's going to be really hard for me to get a lot of my stuff done. So if I can get some of that done this week, it would be great. Now, the pages that I journaled on right here is the pages from last week, and I just finished them off and I put them in albums. So I journaled on 13 layouts and I put 13 layouts away, which is awesome. A great start to this project, and I'm feeling inspired to get it done. Now, do you recognize this area? Yes, this is where all those stashes of layouts were. And I've been really into coloring for the last few weeks, and I'm using my Copic markers a lot, and I have Ohuhu markers too. And the Ohuhu markers are the ones further away, and I bought this, container, and it keeps the markers all separate. I'm hoping, like, it wasn't cheap. I think it was $100. But I'm hoping that like in 6 months from now, I can get another one and put my Copic markers in that same container. Because even though I have this here, there's 6 per slots, and you take one and it falls, and it's just a pain in the butt. And it's just hard to keep them organized. But 6 months is a long time. So I thought, you know what? I don't want to go that long without my Copics not being organized. So what I'm doing is I had an empty one of those containers, and I'm following the Copic sheet, and I'm putting the markers in order. Another thing that really annoyed me was it was hard for me to find markers because I have quite a bit of chow markers and they have no numbers on the top. So that is what I just did there. I went and I found a 1/4 inch punch. I punched it out of sticker paper and I wrote the number of the marker, and I just glued it on the top of the marker. Is it going to last forever? No, but I'm sure they're not going to fall off the markers all at once. So I'll just fix the ones that come apart. Now I've sped this up to 20 speed and I've cut some of that out, but it's just so satisfying to see that come together, and they're all nice and neat. I actually had this on the other side of the room behind me because I thought, oh, well, I want them closer to me. But in order for me to choose the markers, I had to get down on my knees and, to find the markers or move the containers every time. And I didn't like that. I had actually put my Copics in a Rascog, and I didn't like that either. I think I'm going to like this because you're going to see how I use it in a little bit. But I can come at my leisure. I have a chair. I sit down. I can figure out what markers I want to use for the stamp sets that that I'm working on. And it is wonderful. Now that I have everything where it needs to be, I had glued a little circle, like I said, that I punched out of a sticker, and I put on the top of the marker. I didn't like it because you could see the white sticker, and I just did not like it. So then I went through it again, and I'm coloring the sticker with the color of the markers. So now you can't really see them. Now, I only had problems with 2 of them, that the marker was too dark and I couldn't see the writing. So you'll see I just color on the top and the bottom, so you just see a little bit of the white. But altogether, that probably took me about an hour to organize, but I think it was totally worth it because I was wasting so much time looking for markers, and I think this is going to serve me well. Okay, so here's a look at what my desk looks like now. And this was, again, another day. It wasn't on the weekend. I just, one day this week, I just wanted to get that organized. Now I'm just showing you, this was today, and I'm showing you what I want to work on this desk. I was like, do I want to clean that green thing? I don't end up cleaning it. It was just too much work. So I go through this here and I find these Project Life boxes, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to throw them out. And I just put them on my desk, and while I was cleaning, I had an aha moment, of what I wanted to do with these boxes, and I'm going to show you shortly what I did. So this is where I keep my 6x6 pads, and they were kind of close to the end of the desk, and the stack was quite high. So I cleaned on the side of the desk there, and then I pushed the 6x6 paper pad in, and then now they're nice and secure. I still want to organize them and put them by company, and then that way they'll be all nice and together. Plus I have another container that has 6x6 paper pad, so maybe I can take some away from there and go through both, and then say, oh, which one do I want to use first. I found this little thing of pictures, and I'm like, I found a picture of Katie when she was like 1, and she looks just like Lexi. And I found a picture of Josh, he was like 4 or 5. I found a picture of Mason, he was like that again, 5 or 6 or whatever. And I was just like, oh. That's why I love pictures, to kind of have the memory of them when they were little. So I have this plate, and I like to use that plate when I have a lot of embellishments. I like to put them on there because I have a bad habit of losing everything. Well, that plate was just so full of junk that I haven't been able to use it in like forever. So I took the time and I cleaned it up, and now it's just going to sit on top of that shelf. And when I'm ready, when I need to use it, I'll have it, and I'm going to love using it. Now at this point, I'm starting to feel pretty icky. So I'm like, okay, there's something else I can do that I can sit down. So let's do that. I'm showing you, this is where all the layouts are. I still have that hot zone that I need to clean, but that's okay. So now these project life boxes, I have my stamped images that the CC designs that I'm coloring. I put those in a file folder, and it sounded like a great idea when you have a few sheets. But then I ended up with so many stamped images, and it's in the Rascog and it's falling and it looks messy. So I'm like, I'm going to cut them apart. And I had written down the name of the company, the name of the stamp set, but I'm like, I'm going to make a box that's only CC designs, and I showed you that's at the end. I had them all done. So I have a box that's full of CC design, a box that's just full of saturated canary and odd girls together, and then I have a box where I'm cutting down my sheets to 3x4, and I like to cut them ahead of time. So one day, if I don't feel like doing anything else, I'm like, I could cut down some paper. Now I got a spot to put them in a box, and they're going to stay nice and safe. Now I'm showing you that this is one of the ways that I'm going to use this desk. I know I want to color a girl, a stamp girl, probably tomorrow or the next day. And I don't like to do everything in the same day. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down today. I have the example. I still like to go off the example. I've done a few that I go off script, if you will, but I'm still fairly new. So I'm looking at the example, and then I'm testing out the markers, and I'm writing them down, and I'm doing it for Copic and for the Ohuhu markers. Now I have a Pampered Chef. It's like a tool, like for your in the kitchen. Well, I'm using it for this. So once I'm done, I have them all separated in that Pampered Chef tool keeper or whatever it is. And then when I sit down, I have that next to me, and I'm able to color in my images. Now that was another project that I got done. And then I'm like, hey, I have my stack of layouts that I have next to me that needs to be journaled this week. How about if I just take a couple of them, and see how many I feel like journaling on. And I end up journaling on all of them except for one. And I actually start journaling on it, but it's actually our itinerary from our whole trip. And there's like 5 days I only put Calgary, but I'm like, okay, well, we did stuff on those days, so I want to go back in my pictures and see, when did we go see the tower, and when did we go to Callaway Park, and that kind of stuff. So so I stopped journaling on that, and I just journaled on everything else. And then I moved the layouts over to my desk, and then I end up putting all those layouts away. So even though sometimes, you don't feel great or just not motivated, even if you go up and you just do 20 minutes and then move on to something else, like this is something that I needed to do, but I was able to sit down and kind of like, take some breaths, and I got it done. And now that I have my desk cleaned up, I'm able to do that really easily. So that's it for this week. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.